Alrighty, what's going on, guys? How are we doing tonight? Nice to have you on the DataCast. That's what I'm gonna start calling it. Tell me if you guys like that, and if you liked the infamous new photo that I just put up as my background. I'm gonna go ahead and turn down the music a tad bit here. But glad to have you guys on the live stream. I wonder if I can turn down the music. I've already got it down to its lowest level. I can turn down my audio here. There we go. All right. Should be good. How are y'all doing tonight? Nice to have you guys on here. 2 nights in a row. I was fiending to do another live stream. I was doing a daily update today, and I realized after doing my recording, which generally goes about 15 to 20 minutes, I think it was 20 minutes, I had a few things I wanted to talk about, which we can talk about tonight on the live stream. But I realized after the recording was over that I had rambled on for 20 minutes with my mic on mute. So not the best feeling after you've done a full video like that. And I was realizing that it's just really not too much news going on, guys. With most people focused in at Consensus and Blockchain Week, yes, there's a few slight announcements coming out. But as of now, it's not looking like Consensus is what everyone is hyping it up to be. Or just generally Blockchain Week. It's more of people networking, connecting, and looking forward. But what's generally gotten the attraction of many people has obviously been the price action of markets. So we're going to be spending some time talking about that throughout the video. Nice to have you guys on here in the stream. And again, that's good to see. Eric likes DataCast. I like that. Intricate Coin. Nice to have you in here, man. Awesome, guys. So I hope the music isn't too loud. To let you guys know what the soundtrack is, this is VHS Dreams by Trans AM. So you guys should definitely go check it out and everything if you like the music, like what you hear. Got to keep it retro here. Also, let you guys know, as always, this is going to be so long as you like it. Again, if you guys don't like it, be vocal about it. Let me know. Don't just dislike. Leave comments. Leave messages. But I think it'd be really good to have you guys from the community come in. So if you guys want to join into the Discord when we do voice chat here in a little bit, and you can hop in the Hangout, and we'll possibly drag you in to the live stream chat channel, which I'm currently sitting in right now. So hope to have you guys in here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and take a little bit of an overview on markets because I didn't get to knock out a daily update today. So generally speaking, things haven't been too scary today. Obviously, with a down day of Bitcoin around 2%, you obviously are going to have altcoins follow, generally speaking. So as we take a look across the 24-hour, obviously we've got some oddballs here like Paypex, Veritasium, and IX. Outside of those, though, and the rationale of the general market, we can see most things are slightly down. Nothing too out there in regards to crypto. We're used to this kind of volatility. Again, though, it's all lying on the depending factor we all know about, which is Bitcoin holding 8,000. So we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Market valuations, though, holding at a relatively decent level, and in fact actually garnering support where we found support back here on May 12th. So very interesting into that regard, and possibly might serve as what's going to help if we continue to see Bitcoin hold where it is. I think in this case we could possibly see a return back up to testing previous levels that we were at back on May 14th, and also possibly coming back up to valuations we saw back a little over a week ago, back around the $470 billion range. And this might be the continuation of the altcoin cycle to the upside, but it's really going to depend on the key level of Bitcoin at 8,000. Market dominance, however, is also showing us a few key signs here. We can take it here to the yearly. Now I'm experiencing the issue you all run into in my videos. My chat is in the way of the market dominance, so I'm going to drag that over for a second. But anyways, we can see the market dominance for Bitcoin is starting to look like it might possibly curve up. I would say the danger zone for this would be if market dominance got back up above 38% for Bitcoin. At the moment, though, we haven't seen that. That would pretty much mean that not only is Bitcoin declining, but altcoins are going to continue correcting. And that would be really only the case if we got Bitcoin below $8,000. But what's telling me that this market is ready to take more risk is the continued rise in Ethereum dominance. Again, Ethereum dominance tells me one thing, guys, and that is the fact that continued purchase of Ethereum is coming into the market right now. We're seeing more and more people pick up Ethereum. Ethereum has been on a steady uptrend. Volume has been decent. And with this, it's showing me that people are stocking up on Ethereum to purchase ICOs. That's the name of the game right now. Ether's value is pretty much determined by large whales either buying it or ICOs dumping it to cash out. And that's the name of the game right now. But yeah, so I think that's an important sign to watch. We got a $5 donation here. Let me go ahead here and answer that. Sorry about that. Vince, talking about an EOS bottom. We will be taking a look at EOS, Vince. Very good bring up there, guys. And we'll dive into questions as well in just a minute here. Glad to have, we already have over 500 people on here. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I know I have some empty spots on my whole layout, and tell me what you guys think we should fill in there. I was thinking of a few different things. I tried to get a working ticker, like a ticker symbol chart from TradingView. For some reason, I can't get the plugin. I'll try to get it working for you guys that can have up-to-date prices along the top. So let me know what you think about that. Outside of that, though, taking a look here, jumping in more to some price action here, going through the average market leaders we take a look at. We got to take a look at Bitcoin. Interestingly enough, whereas we were a little bit concerned last night in regards to Bitcoin possibly testing 8,000 and breaking below it, at the moment, it might be the case that we can hold at 8,000 or at least even above the 50-day moving average. We had the wicks show that the price action dropped below the 50-day moving average, but we are currently holding above that at 8,300. Going towards the point, though, that we really brought up the other night, really PyCon was the first one to bring it up, but it's a very, very good point, and it's the fact that we're in a very low liquidity market. I'm actually going to bring this here to the 5 minute to really show this to you guys. What's really moving these markets is out of nowhere, whereas we're seeing, you know, double-digit Bitcoin volume every 5 minutes. Instantly out of nowhere, orders of 1,000 Bitcoin buy orders or 1,000 Bitcoin sell orders. And you can just see these pockets of volume that are pushing price around. We're not really seeing much liquidity in markets, and as we take a look at the weekly, that picture becomes very, very clear. Whereas for a while, you know, we were having a nice steady increase in volume. We are seeing a decline, not only on the short-term downside, but also right now where we're expecting a possible rebound. We're just not seeing it yet. So because of that, we need to be transparent and fair and realize that it might be a while before we really start seeing this move higher. And if this low level of liquidity continues to persist, it might be the catalyst for Bitcoin to drop below 8,000 and triple bottom down here around the 7,000 range. I know we don't want to hear it. That's not what everyone wants to hear, but that's just generally what we have to keep in mind for. What I'm looking for is, and I'm actually going to drag this out here, is to see what happens. Do we get below 8,000 first, or do we get above to 9,000 to continue on the uptrend? I think if you get above 9,000, you're going to retest up here at the 200-day and 10,000, and we're going to continue the run up. But it's a matter of if we can get the momentum to get above there. It's a few $100 from where we are now, so we'll have to give it some time. All right, let's go ahead here, take a look at a few market players. Ethereum, obviously, has been in the focus as we were just talking about. Ethereum continues to hold strong comparative to Bitcoin and retain its USD valuation, as well as maintaining a nice uptrend with good volume. As we take a look here at Binance, which is probably where we should be looking at in regards to volume, volume has been remaining very steady. Definitely not to where we saw it back in December, but again, you're dealing with a different price range. So long as it continues on that uptrend, I think we're bound for at least around 11 to 12 million Satoshis on this one because of the absolute demand for liquidity on ICOs. The amount of money that needs to go into these ICOs that are currently raising, and they're getting the money. It is just absolutely phenomenal, guys. Well, I wouldn't say always phenomenal in a moral sense. I think it's just baffling how much money some of these projects are raising. All right, let's see here. Actually, no, someone pointed they missed the snap. You didn't miss the snap. I should do that because I know you guys didn't get that. I didn't have a daily update today. Phil Spears asked, when trading, how do you assess your risk? Do you use a percentage on your account value or use a dollar risk based on confidence on trade market conditions? I generally balance risk in a pretty simple way, Phil, because I'm not so much of an active trader. I understand there's a ton of different mechanisms you can use to assess risk. I use a plethora of different indicators. So for example, if I have 12 out of 14 indicators showing an opportunity to buy, that can be a good sign of managing risk, as well as knowing my risk to reward zone. This is the percentage I'm willing to lose versus the percentage I'm expecting to gain, or what I could possibly gain as a trader. So those are really the two major things I do that are simple, easy to apply for most people, and are great for me as someone who isn't actively trading 24/7 and don't want to build too much complexities in it. YouTube from Australia, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Hey, Data Dash, everyone on Reddit is talking about the Horizon State deal in Indonesia with 96 million users. You know the founder, Jamie Scala. Can you find out what's up? Yes, I know Jamie. Jamie's the individual I had met in Australia. Just because they land a partnership with 96 million users, I know that sounds fantastic, but it's not going to lead towards an instant pop-up in valuation, possibly maybe in the short term. But you know, there's probably a fundamental reason why it's still sitting at 20 million. It might not be good for the actual token itself, you know, the token metrics. It might be a very, very useful use case for Horizon State. But again, when you're dealing with the valuation of a token tied to something, you have to ask if it's actually going to benefit from this deal. I don't really know. I don't know the details on it. So YouTube, I'll try to check into it. It's just hard to keep up with all the different projects out there. Alloway, I'm sorry I can't speak on Redcoin and Pareto distribution. I apologize. Alrighty. So anyways, guys, diving back into this, taking a look here, I think Ethereum's going to continue the trend. I think we're bound for, again, to retest the previous highs, if anything, for Ethereum. That's some of the lower expectations. We might even go higher. Going on here, XRP BTC. Ripple is continuing to hold in that zone where it's looking like it possibly wants to pop up and get to these levels that we're looking to possibly sell at. Still haven't built a position in Ripple. If it gets above these wixes here at around 86,000 Satoshis, possibly make a little bit of a trade on that, but I haven't made any positions just yet. Going on here, Bitcoin Cash, finally continuing to correct. I think this is going to come down to 14 million Satoshis and line up support with the 200-day moving average. The stars look like they're aligning there. And outside of that as well, let's go ahead and take a look at EOS before we dive into some other players. EOS looks like it's got another day or two to go to make contact with that 50-day in that zone that I'm looking for between 130,000 to 140,000 Satoshis. So my general key point here, again, there was resistance at the 50-day. It's going to probably act as support as we get towards previous resistance, which is now going to act as support. So Burnifew, I don't know too much on Masari. I've heard about it. The ASIC resistance aspect is nice because I know they had issues with that where they were building ASICs for Monero and they responded quite quickly, quite swiftly as well. But yeah, I don't know enough on it generally. It's a low cap on CoinMarketCap. Let me take a look at Masari. Yeah, I had seen this the other day. Guys, if a fork is coming out at 3 million and it's traded on low liquidity exchanges, it seems like people didn't take the fork seriously. So in that case, look, I love the ASIC resistant aspect. I again think, well, the thing about it is you have to take pros and cons with ASIC resistance. People think it's just it's a noble cause because it's decentralized and we have GPUs everywhere doing it. There are some benefits and there's some negatives to you know, blocking ASICs. So I think that's a debate you need to have, and you need to talk about the pros and cons of each side. So it depends on your game theory of security in regards to mining and hashing power. Alrighty, let's see here. I'm gonna answer one more question, then we'll dive into. Someone said, Diego says, can we take a look at Strat? Definitely. This is a protocol we haven't looked at a lot recently because it just hasn't been as a player focus as of recent, but it's continuing to garner support on that same level we've kept an eye on for quite some time, which is 50,000 Satoshis. So we might be, again, as I've been talking about, you can see some more clear in other players that have been around for a while and have more price, that I think we are in the beginning stages of the altcoin cycle, guys. We're just waiting for the moment of actual momentum, the actual exponential price we're going to see. And that's going to depend, in this case, I think, for a pop-up over the 200-day, which is getting relatively close. You just need, again, one of these kind of candles to pop through and get it above there like it did over here. And you need to maintain support on previous resistance. So it'll probably come back down as it did over here, and it will test to see if it can maintain on the 200-day. That's what I keep for. As you can see, it's coiling right now like Litecoin is between these two indicators, the 50 and 100, or the 50 and 200-day moving averages. So it's a matter of getting volume and maintaining it, which right now Stratus is not holding because there's no hype around Stratus at the moment. Not a bad protocol though. Again, it's been around longer than most players out there. Okay. Blockchain solutions for charitable donations. Looking for community support, cherry.io. Goji, there's a few other projects out there that are doing charitable donations. I actually met one when I was in the Philippines. All right, he's actually working on one right now. I've got to actually look into it a little bit more. I'm trying to remember the name, but anyways, going on here, taking a look at a few more players here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we look at next. Litecoin BTC. Litecoin's still coiling in between the 50 and 200 day. We'll have to see where this turns out. Again, the moral of the show here, guys, is that, or the moral objective here is that if we get above the 50 day with a nice breakout candle, this is possibly going to contest to see if it can get past the highs back here around, well, historically it's been around 2 million to 2,200,000 Satoshis. But obviously we had a little bit higher levels in February. So can test back to highs, I think. But I think it's much more likely, not to be bearish on Litecoin, but I think you're going to possibly see this break below the 200 day. And if you get a severe breakdown, this is going down to 1 million Satoshis, which then would possibly provide a really good trading opportunity for Litecoin. But we'll have to see. Alrighty. We're going to run through a few more players here, and then we'll dive into some topics, get people in the Discord. Let's go ahead and take a look here at ADA BTC, Cardano. Cardano holding nicely along the 50-day moving average and close to the 200-day. Again, these are kind of the corrective periods where if you're a fan of the protocol, if you're a fan of the player, you want to find these periods where you're seeing upside across all exchanges. You've seen it in Binance, you've seen it on all players. The liquidity is increasing to the upside. You're seeing the big candles of volume coming in. And then on the downside, you have nice steady corrections down to moving averages that can provide support with little to no sell volume. It's the same thing we saw back here. The institutions buy low, and they eventually, through both their volume as well as retail volume, prop up the price. In this case, we're looking at the exact same thing, the early stages before Cardano really takes off for the next leg. I think this is a good long-term protocol. I think it's going to be one of the top leaders in the protocol wars over the next bull cycle. So I'm keeping an eye on that. All right, I'm glad to hear that you're hooked on the midnight. I don't know when I'm going to, I think we're going to go see them live, hopefully. And I'm hoping to go see them live, and possibly, I think it's up in, was it DC or near? I can't remember where it was. Either way, they're doing a live tour, so I'm hoping to go to it. And haven't lost love for Retrowave or the Midnight by any means. Yeah, so let's take a look here at Neo, and then we'll hop off the TA for now, and we'll dive back into it a little bit later with some specific requests. Neo, however, guys, again, I'm going to go ahead and take a look here on Bittrex because we've got the price action to work with. I'm not going to change my mind on this, at least as of now. There's no signs to. Right now, it's looking like Neo itself is repeating history. So you have the initial run-up, the decline, the rebound, decline, possible third rebound, and decline. I think we're repeating it right now. We had the initial run-up, initial decline, slight rebound, decline, and I think we're going to go lower, possibly rebound a third time, decline a third time, and then from there, we will see the uptrend in Neo. Neo, again, has been proven to be a little bit of a late player sometimes. So in that case, I'm going to wait for it. I'm going to be patient to make any more additions to Neo. Not being negative on it. I mean, again, guys, you can't, as a trader, you can't hold grudges in regards to being honest about certain projects you like in regards to TA. All right. Typerium. Start unknown, finish unforgettable. Cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Typerium. Let's see here. James, I'm glad you like the DashCast. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and jump into the Discord here. Let's see here real quick. I'll go over, hop on Discord, see who we got here in the channel. Got PyCon. I'll definitely drag PyCon in here. Let's drag it down to the live stream chat. Hey, PyCon, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Cool, cool. Let's see. We have anyone else? I guess we could add. Hey, were you talking to? Was Hugh? Did he have a mic? Hey, Hugh, you there?
I think I heard him say something about 5 minutes ago.
Cool. Turn down the music a little bit. Is the music too loud?
No.
All right, good. All right, let's see real quick. So we got a question from Julio. Theta BTC or Theta ETH. It's a token now, but will be its own blockchain in Q4. That makes it a protocol, right? Just yes, in a sense, yes. The label of protocol an enterprise platform can be a tad bit misleading in some cases. So when I use enterprise protocol or enterprise platform protocol, I'm talking about infrastructure blockchains that are going to allow people to build dApps and execute smart contracts. I don't know if Theta specifically is going to do that, but I've heard a lot of people talking about that. You can still have your separate own blockchain and not really be a protocol in that case. But I'll have to look into it. I would say by definition, though, yeah, in technical terms, it's operating under its own protocol. If it's running a separate blockchain, it has its own separate means of consensus, a separate infrastructure. So, yeah, you could possibly define it as that. Awesome. Thank you guys for the comments on music and everything. AK Vlog, Unibright. Well, Unibright isn't trading on exchanges yet, but I'm working with the project. Lots of exciting things going on. I can't talk too much about it, but we're working towards getting some awesome partnerships, continuing to develop Unibright as much as we can. Been actively working and doing weekly consulting with them and meeting with a few of the other different advisors for the project, helping to market it, do all kinds of stuff. Dylan, I'm sorry, I'm not too much aware of the ICO. I apologize, my friend. I'll check into it. Jamie, institutions are going to buy the safer plays when it comes to cryptocurrencies, the things that are going to be listed on Coinbase and more predominant exchanges first. Daniel Ricker said, so much for EOS. I think EOS is, I think it's just going through a correction. It's healthy, guys. This is getting very, very close to a zone where I'm going to feel comfortable on it. But I think it's got a little bit, little more leg room to go in regards to this. Eugene, what do I think about security tokens like Polymath? Well, Polymath itself, from what I know, is not a securities token. It's a platform that was supposed to be for securities tokens. The problem with Polymath is that they're only an ERC20 token right now, so they don't even have the platform for tokens on them. So that's the thing I'm a little bit worried about. For securities tokens, though, I think they're going to be a thing, but I think they're going to be on more regulated exchanges until we get into, unless we really go into a full-fledged token economy. That's my general opinion. Saggy Dogs, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Blessings back to you, my friend. Jeffrey, what am I drinking? What am I sipping? I'm drinking some nice cinnamon tea right now. Helps satisfy me during streams. AK Vlog, thank you for replying. No problem. Let's see here.
That's one thing people asked you a lot about last night that was we never looked into too much was whether or not, I guess, we like Bitcoin private.
Oh, yeah. Here's the thing about Bitcoin private that I find so funny, and I can't wait to have Richard Hart hopefully on the channel in the future. Bitcoin private would not have happened unless I can't even think of his name right now. Who's the founder of Bitcoin private? I'm gonna have to find it. Actually, no, sorry. It's the founder of Z Classic originally, but he worked on Bitcoin private. It's Rhett. Rhett's his name. I didn't even see it on here, but I remembered it. So here's the thing about Bitcoin private. Rhett was on a few months ago because one of the few people I can sit down and watch for 2 hours, as I've talked about on this channel before, is Richard Hart. Richard's one of the most respected people in my mind in the space. As much as he's hard-headed, he's got his opinions and stuff, and he can be wrong from time to time. I think he's right on a lot of things, and he had Rhett on during the whole Bitcoin Cash debacle and everything. And putting your stance on Bitcoin Cash aside, he really kind of drilled it into Rhett. He said, well, why do you continue to shill and like promote for Bitcoin Cash? He's like, why don't you go out there and build your own like version of Bitcoin? Why don't you do your own fork? And Rhett's face was just kind of like sitting there, just kind of like blank, like staring off, kind of like in shock. But he hit like a eureka moment. You could see the light bulb over his head. And literally a few months later, you hear the announcement of Bitcoin Private, a fork off of Z Classic, and it was so good because it was turning Z Classic, which I remember watching and considering buying at like 20 or 30 million dollar valuation, instantly going up to 500 or 600 million because of the new volume coming in to get the fork. And it was nowhere near enough to make it a successful fork to take over Bitcoin in the long term, in my opinion. Now, again, some of you might like Bitcoin Private. I love the privacy features being implemented on Bitcoin. But the way they handled it and the way that it just came up spontaneously and then left, I mean, does that not just scream opportunity to just make a lot of money, to get your project shilled for a while and then just fork it like that? Again, it might be missing a piece, but I think it was a really scummy move from what I could see. It'd be like me going and like making like Data Dash BTC, you know? It would just be just abusing the general crypto market to pump up my coin, which I own a lot of, and then selling at the top when it's going to go and do this fork that is going to end up being useless in the long term. And you don't need me to tell you that. You can look.
I've never followed it. I haven't been a fan. I know that there was some controversy too, or some drama that happened between Bitcoin Private and was it one of the Hush developers?
Yeah, I know about Hush as well. I not extensively, but I do know the project. And I mean, there was some drama where Rhett had to like do like a tweet storm or something. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's read some comments here on the topic. Well, Sachin, here's the thing. You said, I know, but BTCP is now a legit coin with ZK snarks. BTCP is not the only coin with ZK snarks. This is the kind of thing that we really need to think about this in a practical sense. And I don't mean to insult people who bought Z Classic and got into BTC, private because they think it could take off long term or they like privacy. I like privacy too in a lot of regards. The fact of the matter is, though, is that ZK Snarks is not a new technology, and you can go look across a variety of cryptocurrencies that use ZK Snarks, that use zero knowledge proofs. Zcoin, Z Classic originally has, from my knowledge, has zero knowledge proofs. There's a few different methods. You really have ring signatures and stealth addresses and ZK Snarks. Those are the main methods of privacy, and the code for that is open source, and it's used on a lot of different privacy coins. So I don't get what makes BTCP unique outside of, oh, well, it's Bitcoin, but we add some privacy features. The developers behind Bitcoin could easily go out tomorrow and obviously, promote a fork on the network or some kind of BIP, some Bitcoin improvement proposal to push ZK Snarks on Bitcoin. That's pretty much what Zcash was. So I think in that sense, it's just not enough for me to really get behind it. You can see the liquidity is completely evaporated. There was some hype going into it.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I'd rather invest in Zcoin or Monero or.
That's the thing is, I mean, you're going to end up, the whole model of forking, what I don't like is that, one, it seems like it's just an opportunity to fork off currencies, get the coin, and then sell it off to someone who's willing to possibly speculate on it on markets, mostly traders. It's not only that, but it's also a very damaging and idiotic way to make change. This is why I think Bitcoin's going to have a very hard time long term of actually becoming a world currency, is that the model of forking itself, you can pretty much fork any tech. Okay, you can take code of something that's open source and make your own. That's what BTC Private is. But forking off the network and just going about creating all these different versions of a currency, you're never going to garner the community adoption that you need. You're never going to garner enough respect that unless you actually bring something valuable and different to the table that Bitcoin can't offer itself, that the core team can't push within a week. And nothing here was really that unique. It was simply pretty much going out of its way to fork Bitcoin and create a privacy version of it. If we don't see core push that in the long term, maybe there's a market for it, but I don't think it needs to be under Bitcoin's brand. It's the same argument that some people make about Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's just common sense. I mean, we need to get out of this idea that we can keep splitting off and having a diverse range of currencies. I mean, to be fair, it's more successful than most currencies. It's sitting at a $471 million valuation, but
it doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like Bitcoin Gold. Like, do you ever hear? And I have no traders who are even traders, like speculators, who care about moving price and making a profit. The bare bones outside of actually caring about stuff, they don't even care about Bitcoin Gold or Bitcoin Diamonds. You know, we don't even have on CoinMarketCap the supply for Bitcoin Diamonds. That's why it's not in the top 100. It's just like, it's absolutely just insane in my perspective. Lindsay, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Let's see here.
I saw someone mention it in chat a minute ago, and there were probably at least 5 or 6 mentions of it last night. People wanting your opinion on VChain.
Oh, VChain. VChain, here's the thing about VChain. I still, comparative to most YouTubers in the space, do not have a formulated opinion on VChain, and I'll tell you why. It's because I haven't been able to do the extensive amount of research I need to on it, to dive through the white paper and everything. But I'm generally looking for projects that haven't gone up to the level that VChain is currently at. It's kind of like Tron, for example. There was a lot of hype around Tron during the past bull run, and because of that, with all the hype already being priced in and a lot of people criticizing it, I didn't ever feel engaged enough to actually look into it. Not saying that it's a bad project, Tron specifically, and then also in this case in VChain, I'm not saying it's a bad project. I just haven't gotten to the point where I've looked into it enough to where I could talk about it on the channel. If you guys would like to see a video on it, let me know down in the description, or sorry, not in the description, in the comments down below. Thumbs it up. Let me know if you guys would like to see it, and I'll definitely consider trying to fit it in.
I think VChain would be could potentially be a good video in the future. It's a project I've always really liked. I don't think it'll come to full fruition until maybe sometime next year to 2020 when their exchange comes out. And when I say exchange, don't think of it like a crypto exchange, because it's not a crypto exchange. It's going to be a goods exchange where you can don't quote me on this, but I believe where you'll be able to purchase like goods that are tracked by their
logistics
RFID
system
platform and stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I'm interested in all kind of supply chain logistic plays, and I think decentralized marketplaces are going to be a thing of the future. I know I was really interested in BitBay, really interested in Syscoin, all these different reiterations of trying to build decentralized marketplaces and tagging that with supply chain logistics and RFID technology. I think that'd be really cool. But someone asked here, did you test out the Substratum node? No, I actually still have the package up here tonight, because that's what I'm ready to open up. I'm not going to be as active in the Discord. Actually, I will be in the Discord afterwards, but I will be running the node in the background, so I won't be able to talk too much until I get it going. But I'm excited for that. I'm like ready to jump in on it. So.
Yeah, I know you and Substratum, Nick, how much you always really like that project. And I like the idea of the project, but I do not like the token or the token metrics. I think the project can exist without a token, but it is real world use for blockchain, right? It's a great use for blockchain. Have you ever looked at any of the other, I guess, competitors in the space to Substratum? Like, have you checked out
with Skycoin and a few others.
Skycoin, yes, that's like with their Skywire.
Yeah, well, what I want to do, because it's a big topic, I want to do a video comparing all of them in the future, because I don't mean to be a shill specifically for sub and everything. I think there's a lot of great projects trying to do the same. In regards to what you're mentioning with the token metrics, I think there's 2 things I think about. The really good part about it is that you need to build some kind of incentive structure to host a node on the network, which I think in that case they have a very simple one where it's, if you want to host a website, you need Substratum tokens, and then if you obviously run a node, you earn Substratum. So it's a nice cycling system. But the one thing that I'm running to as one interesting kind of thing is there's a lot of people who are going to be, for example, in China and here in the US, where they're going to ask for requests from nodes on the network to fill internet requests for visiting sites that are blocked by the firewall. So, for example, accessing Facebook in China or Google in China, when you're not really trying to access a website that's on the Substratum network. It's just a way to bypass the firewall. And so far, from what I know, I don't know if there's a reward system for that. If you earn tokens for those filling those requests. So I'd be curious to see if that's the case. If not, it might end up that a lot of people just use it as a gateway across censorship lines of censorship and don't actually host their websites on Substratum.
Yeah, I know Sky, I guess setup and payouts will be similar to Sub, but they're calling it different. So in Sub, you get Sub's going to pay you in what tokens for running the node, right? And it's going to be based on how long you keep the node up and all that kind of stuff. I think Sky is doing something similar. They're calling it like coin hours or something like that.
Yeah, no, would like to look further into Skycoin. I know some surface level things about it, but definitely not enough to where I could do the full comparison of both. How far are they? Do they have functioning like beta right now, where they're actually?
Yeah. They have a functioning test net.
Oh, good. Okay. All right, let's see here. I think I might put on the midnight a little bit. I'm liking this all right, but I want to get on the midnight. We play in the summer. There we go. Let's skip on this a little bit. All right, we got a donation from Mackenzie. Thank you very much, Mackenzie. What are your thoughts on the argument that white paper projects have more potential to grow your investment than MVP projects? I feel like MVPs is where the institutional investors will invest into. So I'm assuming what you mean by white paper versus MVP is minimal viable product, like projects. So in regards to institutions, yeah, smart money needs to actually put the... Oh, did we actually get... Oh, thank you, Hardly Difficult. Thank you for hosting the stream. I appreciate it, man. That's the second time. You did that last night. I appreciate you sharing the viewers over. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Glad to have you on here on the DashCast. But to answer your question, Mackenzie, I think that people don't realize why projects like Omise Go and a lot of others that actually have not only a backing company behind it, but something already tangible and feasible, and tangible I would stick to, something that's actually real, and why the actual money goes there in some cases rather than white paper projects is because we have a convenience as retail investors. When we put $1,000 of Ether into a project, if it goes on exchange, we can exit out very easily. We have easy liquidity. We can, switch it back to Ether, switch it back to Bitcoin, send it over to Coinbase or some exchange and liquidate it. We can do that. But when a lot of these projects are getting investments from larger players, those larger players need to realize that, okay, we're on the VC side of things, or we're a hedge fund, and we're investing $5–10 million into this project. Not the same level of flexibility. You need an order book that's going to match those orders if you want to close your position. So in that case, especially if you're dealing with larger amounts of money and more isolated hands, I think they look for the MVPs. They look for something that they know they can hold safely for 10 years, and they're going to feel flexible doing so. But at the same time, that philosophy has not been very true right now. It was a few months ago. Now we're seeing white papers across the board. Just you can literally just have a white paper and raise 10, 50, $100 million, no problem. It's ridiculous.
One user in, I think his name was the Small Town Crypto. The chat's done scrolled so much for me, but stated about for Skycoin you need to buy a $1,000 miner to mine it, and that's incorrect. You can buy a miner directly through Skycoin, through them, which is expensive. But if you use the approved part list, I believe they're going to give you the opportunity to build your own based off of like Raspberry Pis and stuff and get whitelisted. So that's a couple $100 possibly, I guess, to get a 3–4 Raspberry Pis, USB power supply, and stuff like that to run it.
Yeah, I definitely would think it would be important to have ease of use and onboarding and flexibility for it. Let's see, real quick, Raphael. Raphael's late to the party, Wind Moon. Thank you very much, Raphael. Nice to have you on here, man. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah, I'm noticing EOS is going up a little bit here. Some people are pointing out. Let's see here, what kind of...
Really I'm very bullish on EOS long term. It and Icon are probably my top 2 holdings right now.
Mm-hmm. Charlie Munger called you a turd trader. Data Dash, what you gonna do about it? Go all in on Theta and buy the entire Berkshire Hathaway with your profits and Firemonger. Oh my god. Oh man, it's funny to just it's funny to see them talk on this, guys, because the whole thing about it is, I think people always idolize Warren Buffett, and I think, you know, man, he's definitely built up his system. He's known how to game markets for years, and it's what you have to look into a few articles to see if I can actually pull up the Zero Hedge article on it. Let me see if I can get this. Yeah, you guys should definitely read this. This is a perfect article here. I'll go ahead and submit in chat. If you want to learn a little bit about how Warren builds his wealth. It's a very fascinating piece. It's not even really so much a hit piece. It's just, it describes what he does. He does what's known as increasing the moat. He wants cash flow. He wants to keep acquiring. He wants to build monopolies. That's how he makes his money. It's how he's been able to compound. You almost have his returns provide levels of compound interest, where they just build on top of one another. That's why Berkshire Hathaway has been a huge success. So, learn how they operate. Recommend you guys read that tonight. Make that your nightly reading session after the live stream, after you get enough data dash. Definitely go check that out. But yeah, I think it's a very important read. It's one of my favorite Zero Hedge articles I've read this year so far. And this is, again, one of their more interesting pieces and stuff. Sometimes you got to take what you read from Zero Hedge with a grain of salt. Very fact-based. Mitchell, hey Nick, what do you think about smaller caps at that have large corrections such as Publica in the near future? I don't know so much about Publica.
Nick, you know I like that one.
You Publica? You like Publica?
Oh yeah.
I don't know enough about Publica personally. That's the publishing platform, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's another one of those that actually shows a use case for blockchain and what they're doing. You know, similar to like how Substratum shows a legit use case for blockchain. Publica does the same thing. So when you think of ebooks or purchasing books, for example, you could use Amazon, right? Let's say you're in the UK, right? Mm-hmm. And you're wanting to buy a book, but you look on Amazon, you find the book, but you realize you can't buy the book because it's region restricted, yeah. Right? And you know, this gets past that. This opens up the publishing world to everybody. So, you know, you can be in the UK, in the US, and in Iraq, Iran, wherever, and nobody's going to tell you you can or can't buy a book because of where you're located or this or that. And then plus it gives the publishers, you know, full control over the freedom over their content.
Is it for digital copies or is it for like print copies? I mean, like, I'm assuming it's digital.
Digital.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, because I was like, how do they? Well, then how does it go to the actual print publication? But then again, as much as a nice book can be good, physical book, I'm someone who likes audiobooks. I'm someone who likes to read digital copies nowadays. It's convenient. And with Kindles everywhere, I mean, that's the mainstream choice, obviously, nowadays.
I like the one guy's comment, "Who's the redneck talking?"
I just saw that. I was scrolling up and I was like, wait, what? I was like, is he talking about me? Like, oh no, he's talking about PyCon. Raphael, there's no need for decentralizing a publishing platform. The fuck, who reads books anyway? Oh my god, Raphael. I try to read books nowadays. I don't know, PyCon, do you read books? Like, for me, I find time when I can, when I'm going between flights. When I go for walks, I like to listen to audiobooks sometimes. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's something you got to have a decent amount of time for on a daily basis to keep up with a book.
I don't. I listen to audiobooks from time to time. I don't, read physical books outside of tech docs and stuff like that. But the younger crowd may think that people don't read books anymore. There's still a lot of people who read books. My wife buys a brand new book like once every 2 weeks, you know? Yeah.
No, I know. I have a friend who he goes on spending frenzies and gets audiobooks. I think what did he get recently? He got Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and he also got Sapiens, which I have a physical copy someone granted to me, which I want to read, but I think I'm going to have to get the audiobook version because it helps me so much better and stuff when I'm on like airplanes and stuff. But yeah, no, I think that there's still a bunch of people who still read. And either way, it's like you were talking about, you mentioned like white papers, for example. There's so many different means of media that can be publicated and distributed. I just think, one thing, you're focusing on books and stuff. I mean, you could do, education material as well. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry in the U.S. I can't believe how much I had to spend on my books when I was in university.
Yeah, when I went to college, it was like 32,000 a year.
32,000. Jeez. Yeah. Let's see. Andrew Sesto. Hey Nick, what are your thoughts on POA and their recent release of the Cross Bridge? You know, actually, Andrew, they contacted me because they wanted me to possibly make it to the event where I think they revealed the Cross Bridge, or it was some, I don't know if it was specifically the Cross Bridge, but it's a good step. I mean, again, you know, POA is one of my underrated plays in the market alongside Nulls and a few others. So it's good to see that they're actually coming through, developing a little bit. Ooh, EOS is dropping a tad bit. But anyways, sorry, I'm getting distracted by price. But anyways, Andrew, yeah, no, positive development in that sense. I do want to do possibly in the future a separate video for POA because I had it as one of my undervalued projects or coins of the month. And I would love to go a little bit more in depth about how the consensus mechanism of proof of authority works. Joe Swanson. Excuse me. How do you feel about cybersecurity tokens like Polyswarm and Hacken? You know, Joe, I actually met one of the guys from Hacken, and I was very thankful. He didn't really show the project too much to me, but you know, Hacken, even though I've met a few people from the team, I don't know enough on Hacken specifically or Polyswarm, so I won't be able to talk on that. Cybersecurity seems like it could be an application. I don't know if there's the token metrics, though, to really make a solid token out of it, but I think you could use blockchain in some manner to possibly meet the needs of cybersecurity. And
all right.
Just general
Another
methods of
user
encryption.
keeps asking about Komodo. Komodo is a good project, like BarterDex. The one bad thing about Komodo right now is BarterDex is not user friendly.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of the decentralized ICOs that they're doing. I actually participated in one of them just recently, just for the sake of history to say I participated in one of the first Komodo ICOs.
I agree with you. BarterDex isn't really user friendly right now, and I think that's why it's not getting the kind of liquidity it needs. Arian Nazo said, look into Liquid Platform Cash. Combine several exchange order books into one. You can buy any coin with any currency regardless of liquidity. They are launching next month and are JFSA approved. Well, I know about Cash. I've looked into Cash for a while. I think we were actually talking about it in the Discord last night. But yeah, I've seen, the thing is, guys, there has been an oversaturation of ICOs that are coming out and promising this exact same thing of pooling liquidity together to central exchanges. I just don't know if it's there yet. Has Cash actually been able to provide it? That's the question I would have, but we'll have to see. Crypto Knights asked, DataDash, do you run a masternode? If not, why not? Crypto Knights, I feel there's not much masternodes out there that provide me with the kind of profit level that I'm looking for. And then also along with that as well, I don't really have a project that I can either afford to run a masternode on or would really seek to. In the case of Dash, if you want to run a masternode, it's a lot of money. And outside of that, there's little to no projects out there that have excited me right now in regards to masternodes, just at the moment. But I've obviously heard a few different projects getting tossed around. Sachin said, DataDash, you should do an interview with the BTCP team and clear negative perception people have because of RET. See roadmap and development going on. Sachin, yeah, I'll check into it, but I definitely, you know, I've got to see some unique stuff in there before I do an interview. I've got to do a little bit of deep digging. Raphael says Komodo's team can't even work a live stream.
Yeah. One guy just asked about something I hear about a whole lot with the sentiment coming up around the G20.
Yeah.
I honestly feel that nothing will really come out of the G20 related to crypto, but the thought is already stirring in people's minds. So before the G20 happens, I think there will be general market FUD.
When is G20? Is
it July or August this year? I don't know if maybe someone in the comments knows and can give the date. I'm not exactly sure. I know it's coming up soon, but I don't know the exact date.
Sorry. 21st. Oh, okay. So we've got foreign policy, multilateralism, and global governance. Let's see. Okay. I don't know. Excuse me. They're yeah, we're not gonna go through the full calendar system here. Should be a date on like when financial groups are gonna be meeting at there. Oh, here we go. Here's an article on it. I thought they had, there was a meeting already. Okay.
Yeah, well, the G20 is like, I mean, they meet pretty much throughout different times throughout the entire year, right? So there's a meeting coming up this summer. There's the big one, I think, that'd be around the Thanksgiving time period. Is the one where you generally see all the protesters and all that.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you can always expect that no matter on a fundamental sense what you think is going to happen, there's always going to be a FUD case for it. But that's why I wouldn't worry. If anything, I'd look for opportunities in the market. Thoughts on mainnet launch for Pearl? Pabs, I think it's good. It's a good step. Let's see if they can actually deliver and if Pearl does well. I think...
I got an interesting question for you on this one, Data, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What do you like better, Pearl or Bazel? Who do you think has a better product?
The thing about Bazel, I haven't looked into Bazel yet. I need to actually look into it, to be completely fair. You know me, if I haven't looked into something, I won't look in, or I won't talk on it.
You don't want to speak about
it. The thing about Bazel, I mean,
I'm very drawn between the two over which one I think will handle data better, utilizing blockchain long term. I'm leaning more towards Bazel, but it's still something I have to, I guess, research more myself at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, someone asked about Constellation. Yes, I know about Constellation as a project. Interesting that they're working with DAG technology, if you're talking about Constellation Labs. Let's see. Vince says, we need to clone 10 of you, Nick. I think you don't want 10 versions of me, Vince, and I'll tell you why, because you'd probably just have an echo chamber of people continuously shouting the same phrases that I do. Previous resistance tends to become new support. You'd be hearing a lot of snapping. You'd probably get a good mix of what else? What else would you find, PyCon? Would you get like I'm trying to think of some things that I do frequently.
That'd be a lot of finger snaps.
There would be a lot of snaps. I think that's the main point we need to take away. And we only need so much snapping, guys. We gotta make it something. You can't oversaturate the snap because then it gets old. You gotta keep it fresh. Raphael, hell yeah, I'm really heavy deep in Constellation, balls deep. I'm also a Telegram admin. That's awesome, Raphael. Good stuff, man.
I know a lot of your newer subscribers, at least, keep wondering who I am. I've been a moderator now since October, November.
I don't know who you are, PyCon. You're some random guy who just got in this channel, and
there's this, people were wondering because I was gone for a couple months. I had some medical problems. Actually, I had a stroke.
Which I'm happy to hear you're recovering from and you're doing well for the most part, right?
Yep. So far, I mean, there's no signs of permanent damage besides some weakness and stuff. But that's one reason for like the old people who've been following you why I haven't been around too much the last few months. And for the new people who are wondering, I've been I think a little bit over 6 months now. I think I came in around the same time as Chef, as far as popping in Discord and stuff. I think Chef came in maybe a week, 2 weeks before me, and
no, I think you guys came in generally on the same time, and it was just the build up to December where I remember how like ridiculous the Discord was getting, like how crowded it was, like the hype that was just ensuing. Like it is something that I think we'll have it. I think in the next few months, that kind of craziness come back into the market, but it's definitely not like that right now, which I'm kind of happy. I don't like it always like that because you can't have genuine conversations like this. That's the fun part about things being a little more quiet. You have the people who really care about this movement generally, and you'll stick around. Jonathan brought up that I'd be saying all the different 10 versions of me would be saying exuberance over and over. Yes, very good, Jonathan. At the end of the day, Miguel. Oh my god.
One person, someone just asked you about card stack, which that was an ICO I was going to go into on the private sale back on their first initial announcement. Then something happened and it got delayed, they canceled it. Now they, they just recently reopened the chance to, they're doing the ICO again. And now it's got me like, I really like the idea of the project a whole lot, but now because of the delay that they did and some of the other stuff, I'm kind of worried at the same time.
Yeah, no, I heard about CardStack. I don't focus too heavily into that space generally. For me, the project that caught my eye was Virtue Poker, which I talked about on the channel. One interested me a little bit, but yeah, I've kind of realized, as much as the project definitely interested me, the thing about it is it's not my space personally and stuff. I don't know enough on the competing players, and I think I underestimated that there was some decent competition with the project. Let me see. Oh, Raphael, I've been an admin for 8 months on the YouTube super chats. Yes, Raphael, you've been here for quite some time, man.
I guess Chris did a super chat, at least what he's saying about your supply chain management coins, your top ones. I don't know if you can scroll back and find what.
Oh, yeah. What someone since Seneca asked for a card stack, and then so I guess I must have missed it. I must have missed it. Well, anyway, supply chain logistic coins. Here's the thing for me. I don't have one definitely to where I'm absolutely sold on one player. I would say to distribute, what I would do in most cases, if I don't have a favorite company, it's the diversification method, where you go across and pick a few different players. So you obviously, I think Walton Chain is a leader. I think VChain, even though, to be fair, I haven't looked into it, many people have been talking about that being a leader in the space with the amount of partnerships they're building and the long-term ambitions. I know they partnered with Sentinel Chain, which is a project I liked early on. I would say Wabi as well has good consumer adoption in regards to China and fixing the milk baby formula issue. And then outside of that,
you got Track.
You got Orange and Trail. You got a lot of new competitors. You got Orange and Trail. You had Modem a while back, but a lot of these have just kind of gone quiet, or I haven't heard much updates on personally. So it's a matter of landing with these kind of things, having really two things: functioning tech that gets better and better, and landing partnerships. And some of them just aren't doing it. VChain, I think, has been able to build up so much because of its list of partnerships. But I would say to pick 4 or 5 year players, and over time, the ones that keep losing, get them out of your portfolio and hold on to the ones that keep winning. If you're in it for the long term and you're trying to get that real winning player that's actually going to help small to medium enterprise who need a decentralized ledger like that to operate supply chain logistics. Mackenzie, thank you for your answer. Also, what app wallet do you use to send Bitcoin to new people on, that you meet on the streets so I can share the love? Mackenzie, that's awesome, man. Thank you for your donation. And then also, thank you for asking a good question. Well, I'll go ahead and show you guys what I use real quick. I don't know if I'll bring it up to the screen and stuff, but what I use is Blockchain. It's a very common mobile app for Bitcoin and Ether. But what I do is I generally go ahead here, and I'll go ahead and log in. My phone's about to die. It's at like 1%, so it might die before I can even pull it up. I don't know. It's taking a second to open up the wallet and everything, but there we go. I got it there. So I have this small little wallet. I'll go ahead and pull this up if you guys want to take a look at it. Oops. So that's the wallet right there. I've got about $1,000 worth of Bitcoin in there. Nothing much, but it was some of the money I'd put aside to give 5, 10 Bitcoin out to random people that I meet. So from there, if I meet someone who's new who doesn't own any Bitcoin, I'll toss them $5 or $10 of the Bitcoin. Very simple, very nice. Use QR codes. Very simple transaction.
I've never been very big on mobile wallets yet.
I never put a lot of money into them. I think that the whole concept of a mobile wallet is for short-term amounts of transactions. It's kind of like, I think it's kind of like, for example, like a credit limit. You have a certain amount of money you can spend a month and stuff. I think every month people should move in a certain amount. When we get to the stage where we're actually using crypto for payments and just running, SPV wallets like this on your mobile device and stuff is a good thing for payments at retail shops. But Michael, I'm going to answer a few of these questions. Chef loves his Wabi. Yes, Raphael, Chef does love his Wabi. He introduced it to me, and actually, I got to meet the founder of Wabi when I was in Singapore at the Blockchain Economic Forum. He's really nice, and brought up some good points criticizing some overhyped aspects of the supply chain logistics space. He was brought up the factor that the luxury goods market issue is a little blown out of proportion, but it is definitely an issue. Michael Alpine asked, do you think Veritasium is a scam? I'm not going to say so much that it's a scam, but I haven't seen enough come out of it, and it's been over a year since I first heard about the project. So, and I'm still waiting. But nonetheless, I do like my man Reggie. He's cool. Let's see. Jim and I didn't think Icon was manipulated by whales over other coins. I think all coins are manipulated to some degree with the amount of huge pools of massive investors. Raphael, Nick over here flexing on us, only $1,000 of Bitcoin on here, nothing major. Well, some of it did come, some of that was from the Coinbase referral system that I've had on my channel, and I thought, you know, probably be best to give some of this away to help people. So I put some of that in my wallet and everything, and obviously, hopefully, the value of that Bitcoin will go up over time, so $5 to $10 worth of Bitcoin can be distributed more and more frequently. You know, I give it in the means of dollars and stuff, so it's something relatable to people. And it gives them a little bit of a stake in it. They're like, okay, you know what? I've got a little bit of this. I need to learn how it works and, you know, how blockchain and cryptocurrencies work. Mitchell, that's a very nice comment. He hopes you're feeling better, PyCon. What are the thoughts on Request Network?
Yeah, I haven't, thank you.
Yeah. Do you know anything on Request Network, PyCon?
Yeah, it's the payment request, right?
It might be. I haven't dove in specifically.
It's been a long time since I looked at Request Network. I think back towards maybe into December, beginning of January. So what's last time I looked at it? I remember when I looked at it, there was nothing that pointed out to me as bad, right? It seemed like a legit project. The developers were active. The community managers were active. I think they had were tweeting often, like updating, you know, about the project and the community. And if they deliver a functional payment request system that's easily accessible for everyone, you know, I think they could have something in the future.
That's interesting. I gotta look into this a little bit more. I've heard people mention Request Network. I've seen the logo before, obviously, but yeah, I'd be dead honest, I'm still surface level on the project. So let's see here real quick. Raphael, give me 100 sats, please. Yes, Raphael, send that address and I'll send you 100 sats. Show people a real-time Bitcoin transaction.
What are your thoughts on Ethos, Nick? That was I didn't see his name.
You know, cutting out the fact that Ethos, I've known Ethos since it was Bitcoins, and I knew when it was a small cap cryptocurrency, so I don't want to hear any hate from people. But man, without hating on the fact that they spam my poll on a community coin to cover, I'll say that Ethos itself, it is filling a definite necessary need in the future, especially in this stage where cryptocurrencies are seen as investments rather than currency. An easy way to diversify and distribute into different cryptocurrencies. That all being realized, I don't know where it stands up against the competition. There's a few other mobile wallets out there that are doing it, some of them not tokenized, some of them that are simply just mobile wallets that help you to do this, and also provide the same flexibility of different tokens to store in the wallet, as well as coins and tokens, you know.
Yeah, and the ease of access is needed also. So, you know, if people want 25K Bitcoin, we're not getting the new investors like what we were last year. There needs ease of access,
right?
And we need ETFs.
Yeah, ETFs are the institutional side as well as retail for people who want to predominantly do it through their investment accounts. And then you need continued mobile app adoption. I can tell you guys, the trend in traditional markets for getting retail investors in was not so much opening up more E-Trade accounts. It was through these new mobile apps that were advertising all throughout the past summer about getting into investing, putting $5 in stash, all these different apps. And some of them would be focused towards your moral objectives. Do you believe in clean water or renewable energy? You could buy ETFs. Built in there, one-click buys, where you could put $50 into these little ETFs and invest in it and see your money grow. That's the future of it. It needs to be very engaging, very simple, and very clear towards what you're looking for as an individual. Raphael said the website looks cool for rec instant buy. They do have a nice website. I gotta give them that. Very clean, very to the point. So that's why I still have it up. I want to look at it later. Want to make sure is the connection coming through good, guys. I know I have a lot of tabs up, so I'm gonna close some of these. Always worry about that. Again, man, I can't emphasize it enough, guys. Read this Warren Buffett Zero Hedge article. Gives you a new perspective on Buffett. Does an increased circulating supply mean it's more difficult to reach its previous highs? Insane. I wouldn't say yes to that, because supply, when you're looking at price, again, or sorry, market valuation, so like market cap, you take that by taking the market supply and multiplying it by the current price. That's how you get valuation. That's what really matters. But I can tell you in the past that people have generally built a stigma. It's one of those human biases that we love things that are limited, that are finite, and have low supplies. And yes, I would say increased circulating supplies, especially if you're inflating the supply massively. Yes, it can be difficult, because if you double the supply and you want it to get the same price, you're gonna need, I guess in that sense, if you double the supply in regards to circulation, it's going to dilute the valuation of something, unless there's a just reason for increasing the supply, which I can't think of any. It's kind of like if everyone in the world had a certain amount of dollars, and then I went to the printing press and printed a double amount and gave it to everyone. It doesn't increase their purchasing power. Yeah, Bruno brings up a good point. So Warren Buffett doesn't even use a smartphone. No tech for him. The thing, it's not an insulting thing towards Warren. He lives the way he wants. That's the reason why I think, as much as I love to mention it from time to time for jokes and some of the other traditional investors and how they rail on crypto, I don't take it personal, guys, and I don't take it with a sense of legitimacy, because Warren, for example, he's admitted to missing out on Amazon and so many great tech companies. It's just not matching with his investment style. He is an individual who looks for cash flow. He looks for financials, and he wants to build up his empire. It does not work with companies that are burning through cash. Does not work with companies like Tesla that might be doing great things, and in the future will probably be a very profitable company, but right now is having to issue countless bonds out and is losing a lot of money,
That's like even Netflix, for example.
Yeah.
Netflix is under as far as capital versus expenditure income.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just he doesn't like it. Because of that, the tech world is very different. The margins are much more thin. It's much more about adoption and growth in users, and then later on capitalization on those users. Raphael, my favorite low supply coin is Ken. Ken is not low supply. I swear, Raphael's the biggest troll. Let's see here. Michael, many people have been mentioning Theta. I don't have enough info to build a concise opinion on Theta just yet, but I've had many people mention it to where I might look into it.
Yeah, someone asked an interesting question. Do you believe those buying OTC or liquidating BTC on the open markets? And I'd say it could be possible, because my last buy-in, I used an OTC exchange, so it wasn't like, going through like the underground part, right?
Yeah.
So I used Genesis for my first time.
Yeah.
And at the time, Bitcoin was a little bit over 7,800, right? I was able to get a settlement at 72. So it is possible, I guess, that, there are people going OTC,
They can do arbitrage
a little bit cheaper, and then popping it on a market and selling it.
Yeah, it would matter if you have the order book to where, because when you're dealing with big positions, I mean, you don't always have to do big positions with OTC. It could just be that you guys want to do it off exchange or over the counter rather than traditional exchanges. But it's a matter of clearing that position through the order book. Can you arbitrage that and make a profit? But yeah, I guess that's interesting. So PyCon, did you like using Genesis?
To me, it was confusing as hell at first. I'm not gonna lie. It was the first time I'd registered to use it, and it confused me for a few minutes.
Yeah, I got to look into it myself. I want to explore a little bit with it because I'm going to be doing my OTC video in the future. Nigel asked, Nick, do you like HOT, which is Holochain? Could it be another XRB run coming? I think Holochain possibly could be, but it needs to, two things. One, it needs to be on more exchanges, and second off, it needs to have actual like proof of use case in regards to its tech. I think that it's really exciting. Again, I put it in one of my 3 undervalued projects. But the reason it's undervalued is because it's not on any exchanges right now and because it hasn't proven itself yet. The concept is really interesting. I like the whole Asics-centric approach. It seems much more rational for building decentralized applications, much more scalable as well.
Did you have you seen the Rayblox fork? I still always call it Rayblox, even though they've rebranded to Nano. But
which one specifically? I know there's a few different projects under the roof right now.
It's the one it begins with a T. I can't fully remember.
Yeah, I know. I think I know.
They're adding, I guess, the ability for contracts.
Is the IoT one?
And contract.
Yeah,
and
that's one that's under the radar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's. I can't remember the name. I think it's. But yeah, that project is one that I'm keeping an eye on right now. Pretty early stage. I was reading through the white paper when I was at the airport. Really interesting, kind of under the radar project. After this year's consensus, do you think that the conference is now overhyped and no longer what it used to stand for? Jeff, yeah, I'll put this into perspective for you. This is one big reason why I didn't feel like I was left out by any means not getting to consensus this year. They found someone, they calculated percentage of like representation at consensus, and I think someone found that it was like Bitcoin made up less than 0.5% of, like half of a percentage of occupation in regards to consensus, meaning like there was no representation for one of the largest cryptocurrencies. But what was the representation for? Oh, a butt fuck ton of ICOs. Like, there's no better way to put it. Like, that's what the space is right now. It's I don't always like to go to conventions because I get that vibe sometimes. It's overhyping ICOs. It's places to network rather than listen to people speak. And it can be annoying sometimes. Like it really separates you from what people care about. Like if you really care about the tech and the community and this thing going off long term, you'll find yourself bored a lot of the times at conventions because it's very much like egocentric networking and like, oh hi there, my name's Data Dash. Here's my business card. Actually, I did get business cards recently because I had to. Everyone's been asking me, and I finally got myself a little business card there. And look at that, simple, clean, to the point. But I hate business cards. I hate that kind of networking. That's not where you build real connections. It's just I think a way to, just build very short-term relationships, and you kind of spray and pray hoping to land an opportunity.
The general consensus I got from the people I know who went to consensus this year is that it's nothing more than just a trade show this year. That there were some good projects that were up talking. There were some things that they enjoyed. But this year's bit was different than what it has been in the past.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. As someone mentioned, Mars Landing said Charter Protocol is a new low-cap Filecoin style project with staking and the ability to run dApps on it. What are your thoughts on the project? Mars Landing, I actually like it. It was the first project I bought on IDEX, or at least actually made a decent position in. I think it's a coin where, at least at its valuation, it's undervalued. I really like that they have their customized, I don't know if you call them so much miners on the network, but the custom hardware equipment that they're building for Charter, and yes, the ability to run dApps on it as well. Very interesting, and actually making this more than just a huge storage platform. So I'm holding it. It's more of a long-term hold to see if it gets not only listed on other exchanges, but also as a steady competitor with SiaCoin. And we all know that SiaCoin has gone up to $1 billion in valuation in the past. So we'll see if it can do the same. I'm putting my cards on it. It's a small little bet, as it's on IDEX only right now, and it's still generally under the radar. Sadu, no, I think that's interesting. They're working with Union Pay, but I don't know anything in detail with high performance blockchain. Let's see here. John F., you're thinking about switching from Wabi to Icon. I would definitely, I'd say both are good projects, but yeah, I kind of prefer Icon because it's a protocol play.
Yeah, we finally talked Chef into selling some of his Wabi, and he's already doubled his money since then.
Yeah,
which Wabi hasn't done much of anything. So.
I wouldn't have believed it unless I heard it out of his own lips, man. Chef was the one who got me into it.
Neo's getting. I know we talked about Neo, or not even. It was you talked about it before the live stream, even last night before you brung us in.
Yeah, the thing about Neo,
a lot.
Yeah, it's just the thing about Neo is it's they're forming up such a big ecosystem, but the core protocol Neo, there's not much exciting going on. And they're still trying to set up a functioning decentralized node structure, which is highly centralized, and much like IOTA can go on and off at certain times. And that's a scary thing when you're dealing with a multi-billion-dollar cryptocurrency, where people on paper are saying, "Oh, I own this underlying cryptocurrency that's worth all this," you know. And sometimes it's not functioning. That's very scary. D-Man says, "Hope seems lost for poor Sam. However, a figure passes through the misty haze, and an exuberant voice is heard. Come with me if you want to live. It's the Data Dash. Midnight jazz sound intensifies." I haven't done my voice impersonations in a while. Michael, I know a little bit about Nebulous, not enough to talk on it though. Quinn, I apologize about that. I don't know much on MTC Docademic. Apologize on that, but I do appreciate the donation, and I'll definitely try to check into it. Dozekill, we'll have to see what comes out of shells. I know I have my shells last time. Actually, I haven't checked my ledger, but I should have gotten my shells. If I didn't, I'm going to be upset. LMNO, what do I think Icon's going to be in a year? You guys want me to shoot in the dark. Here's the thing about Icon. I think it is going to be a contester for one of the top 3 to 5 protocols that will compete with Ethereum. So that should tell you something. Comparative to most protocols that are established like it is relatively cheap. Now again, you've got to assess for yourself what you're looking for in Icon, in a protocol. But I love where Icon is positioned right now. There's, whether it be fundamentals or whether it be market momentum, this player is still generally cheap in my opinion. It's trading at 382 right now. I think Icon is going to be, by the end of this year, if you get an altcoin cycle, I think it's going to test back up past the highs at 12, and I think you'll probably see anywhere from $20, $25. But again, that is if it continues to develop like it is, it continues to scale like it's claiming it can, and then also continues to land partnerships. But that's the end of the year, so we've got a few months ahead. That's if we hit a bull cycle as well. I think something more rational is if we don't go into a full altcoin cycle and just get a little bit more market momentum to the upside. Probably something around $10 to $12. Still, great return, but we'll have to see if it can actually do that. Richard Smith asked, switching topic, do you have any other investments other than crypto, real estate, gold, silver stocks? I'm going to be getting some precious metals soon. It's been on the books. I think I'm going to wait until after the next bull cycle comes. And once I'm able to continue trading crypto, I'm going to diversify, get some gold and silver, along with that as well, some other kind of survival stuff, just in case. Always got to come prepared.
If you're serious about investing for your future or for your family, for the future, then you should always look outside of crypto. I'm not saying look at stocks because I don't look at the stock market, but gold, silver.
Yeah. I would say I'm going to be getting a property in the future. I think for now I'm going to rent, but I'm waiting for the housing market to correct a little bit, as well as stocks. And once I get a good 50% correction in stocks and a good 30-40% in real estate, that's when I'm looking to buy. Stocks, though, are just they're, you know, it's funny. We talk about crypto being in a bubble. Stocks are in a market of their own, or a mindset of their own. It is.
Yeah, we talked about EOS a lot last night, a whole lot.
Yeah. Let's see here. Ryan has said, Dash, you nulls deep. Yes, I'm not massively deep in nulls, but I definitely have a good form position. Natasha, I have talked a little. I have talked about Rise in the past. I actually did a video on Rise, and I met actually. Back in Singapore, I met a lady who worked for Rise. We had a really good conversation. The thing about the Rise itself, what I really liked is they did something that it's kind of like what EOS is doing. They had an incubator program, and it was interesting to see that they were actually trying to get some good projects going on the Rise platform. Eugene said, Data Dash, what about the trading pair Data and then Dash? That's funny. I like that. See.
One person asked you if you were into mining.
No, mining is one of the few areas. There's a reason you guys don't see it on the channel. It's one of the few areas that I understand what mining does. I understand some of the hashing algorithms and generally some of the economics of the space, but it is not something I keep active in. I'm not someone who can talk.
Mining's something I've been doing now for a little bit over a year. So I can probably speak on it a little bit. It's hard to say for new people coming in. If you're just wanting to come in, start mining now, especially GPU mining with the current way prices are.
Yeah.
And with the way the market is right now too. A lot of it also depends on where you live, you know, because you could be paying anywhere from 3 cents per kilowatt hour up to 20, depending on what region in the world you live in. So where I'm at, it's 10 cents per kilowatt hour. You know, I pay roughly around $800 a month off of the mining equipment that I have that towards power. You know, so if you calculate that, I'd guess my normal power bill if I wasn't mining would probably be around $120, right? My average power bill is about $800 a month. Due to the price per kilowatt hour that I pay here, mining is decently profitable. It's still not at 10 cents. It's still not as profitable as it could be in other places. But
that's the thing. The whole thing about mining, guys, is it's a game of really economics. Like, you need to understand how expensive your electricity is going to be, what you're paying for miners, what you're expecting in regards to return. Is it do you have to pay some form of electricity or nothing at all to keep your mining equipment cool? You know, the environment that you're in. Are you in the middle of Texas or are you in the middle of Iceland? You know, that's why the huge, massive Genesis mining facilities are out in the middle of nowhere in Iceland. It's cold, they don't have to pay for it, and electricity is relatively cheap. You know, you have to consider all the factors in to actually make mining profitable. And it's something that I hate to say this. It's why I think that there is a big question of keeping miners decentralized, unless we keep it on a GPU level where it's simple for everyone. In the world of Asics, it is tendent that you find, because of the expense of it and the expense of keeping it cool and keeping electricity cheap, that it is going to end up being very centralized in certain patches. It's going to be distributed relatively across the world, where I don't think it's going to make any vulnerabilities for Bitcoin, but it is not going to be what we imagine in regards to decentralization. It's not something that just anyone can get into and really start making a good buck off of. That's at least my opinion. I think you need to make more of an investment into it, or have a little bit more knowledge into it before people just start pouring money at it. Whereas investing, you can buy $500 worth of Bitcoin, and then you can distribute it into altcoins and do whatever. It's very, very flexible. Do you think miners should pivot to renewable energy? Videsh, if the continued difficulty continues to increase for Bitcoin, you're going to need renewable energy. That's where it becomes a little bit questionable in regards to...
The price, though, on that, Nick, is expensive. So I looked here where I'm at, right? I'm not going to give the state I'm in, but
yeah,
to power my mining equipment, right, to get a solar set up and batteries,
yeah,
and have a professional install done, I was looking in the range of $60,000 to get solar set up here. That would just be enough just to power my mining rigs.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, on residential level, I don't think you're going to see it unless you're... Now, if you're building a massive mining facility, I know some have done that, for example. But what we're seeing is in the mining space is... I don't like the project itself, but, you know, have you heard of Envion? Do you remember that? PyCon, that was the one that raised, like, they raised 100 million or something. It was a massive mining ICO. But yeah, what basically Envion does is they build these big pods of miners inside, and they move it around to where electricity is cheapest. And they would, in many cases, go over to renewable plants where they're generating too much electricity, excessive amounts. That happens in Europe a lot, in like Germany and a few other areas. But pretty much the electricity is pretty much dirt cheap. It's close to free, and they would use that for mining their equipment. I think that's the only case where renewable really is a big selling point. It's either the electricity is cheap, like Washington State, where, again, that happens where they have a lot of hydropower that doesn't get used. And miners were abusing that for a while. But the regulations keep people from doing that. It works better when you have the coordination to be able to take things to scale. Most retail investors can't do it. In the case of PyCon, when he was mentioning, it wouldn't be practical for him to do a solar system. Let's see. Quaizon Carter said, have you looked into doc.io? They connect your profiles, reputations, and networks into one shareable source using blockchain technology. They have 500,000 users on the live platform. It is interesting. I'd be interested to see if they really have 500,000 users, but Quaizon, that's pretty interesting. I'd like to look into that. I think identity on the blockchain is going to be massive over the long term. Someone said when Toyota Corolla. I saw that on the internet. It's like December and it had like the Lamborghini, and then nowadays it's like a Toyota Corolla. Yeah, PK Envion was looking a little scammy, to be fair. Don't claim me there on that, but it definitely was. It was definitely a project that the concept has many flaws and holes, and I'm not sure if they'll be able to deliver on the promises they've set out.
Yeah, someone mentioned mobile mining about
like electronium
usage, cheap electric. The issue with that's still going to become the same thing. So like let's say if someone developed an algorithm that only things like the Raspberry Pi could mine, in 6 months everyone would be throwing a temper fit, your normal average Joes, because no one could get a hold of a Raspberry Pi, and instead of being $35, you're going to find them everywhere for like $120, $125.
Yeah, they're going to be swamped up. Yeah, I feel for some people in the...
You'll go into some dude's house and see like 20,000 freaking Raspberry Pis
all sitting around the wall. Oh my god. I have no doubt that that would be the case. You just like go to your friend's house. What you doing, man? Doing like a little computer project or something? It's like, oh no, I'm mobile mining. It's like, what the fuck are all these Raspberry Pis doing around? Oh lordy. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap up and do 2 more questions here. We've been on the live stream for a decent amount of time, and afterwards, after I'm done with the live stream, we'll hop into the Discord. So I hope to see you guys there. And just to let you all know, because PyCon brought this up, we got to get this adjusted. It will not let you speak in the Discord for like the first 10 minutes. Just join in when you can, guys. I think we had that setting back in December when there was a lot of spam, but we definitely want to have you on there and have you jump into the Discord. So give it some time. All right. The engineer said the commercial efficiency of solar panels is only 18%. With newer technologies discovered regarding solar panels is progressive. I myself have a solar system installation at my home. Yeah, the engineers. I don't know if you ever saw this on Twitter. My original focus was in solar and other emerging markets when I was trading stocks. I understand that there is a lot of interesting efficiency improvements coming to solar. 18% is pretty decent on an energy efficiency level, but it needs to be higher to make solar practical. Solar, more than anything, has just gotten really cheap because of the saturation in China. There's been, just like the steel market, a massive production overload and exports from China. So you're seeing some tariff conflicts in regards to China with the amount that they're producing. I like it to stay cheap though, as much as it can, hopefully. And
yeah, here in the States right now, steel prices are getting stupid. They're starting to go up because of, I guess, the fear of trade wars.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I would see how that probably go up. Vince, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, I probably noticed I still got a little bit of a cough. I'm feeling fine. It's just it's from the sickness I had over the past 2 or 3 weeks. A lot of traveling. It's not fun. A lot of flying. Alrighty. Let's see here. Let's get one last good question in here. Arbiter, I did a video on ontology. You should definitely check into it. Oh, that's what you're talking about, right? OCN. Oh, no, maybe I'm wrong with that. Ontology is ONT, right? Yeah. Sorry, my bad. Wrong coin. Robbie Cast, asking a little bit outside of a crypto question. When do you expect a real estate market correction? When 2 things happen. When you get interest rates risen up to around 2%, 2 to 3%, and when all the funny money stops coming out of China. That's pretty much what's keeping up the real estate market in all the major cities. That's why I wouldn't buy a house in San Francisco or New York City or Boston or got even areas in Canada, Toronto. You go to Sydney, Australia. I mean, it's just every city in the world. You go to Europe, you go to London, you go to Paris. Everything is just overinflated during this whole bubble of money exiting China from the industrialization and from rampant borrowing, and it's just flowing out of the country and purchasing up pretty much anything that the money can grab. You know, it's unsustainable, and when that happens, you're going to see just how phony valuations are. It's happening in these big patches of cities. In other areas, we've had a more steady housing market, but Krenar, yeah, definitely. I'd like to look into it. As Spencer said, yeah. Spencer said
blockchain coins.
What'd you say?
Said Track is one of my
I gotta look into Track.
I think most undervalued supply chain management projects right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool competitors coming in. Let's see. What was it? Vic, thank you very much. But yeah, someone was saying they lived in Toronto and the market was crazy. I have no doubt. I saw some of the prices when I was there. Money's flowing in. Let's see here. I will do one more question here. Alex, this is a good thing to wrap up on. Just curious, how many white papers do you read per week? Simple answer, too many. Too many to where it's concerning. I would say in a given week, I at least read usually 1 a day at a minimum. But some days I can find myself reading 2, and some days I'll have a gap day. I'd say probably 5 or 6 fully fledged read through of them. A lot of reading. I do a lot of my own research, guys, but I also, again, I'm able to filter through a lot of noise through my mechanisms that I have, my easy quick filters, and then also a few extra ones, as well as talking to a lot of other people out there who spend all day researching on ICOs. So I've built a good network up where I can filter through a lot of the noise and find good projects very quickly.
Yeah, if I have something on that too, Nick, is no one should ever buy a coin because someone told you to.
Precisely.
If you can't go read the white paper, go look at their site and at least Google a couple of the team members to make sure they have LinkedIn profiles and all that stuff, and make sure that the project's legit, then you don't deserve to be trading to be in.
That's the thing as well. I'll end off on this note to completely agree with what PyCon's saying. The issue that I find with so many people is that they actually legitimately want to invest in stable long-term projects. They want to put their money in something that's going to work for them over the next few years and hopefully become a massive project that the world adopts. And I think that's a very noble cause. But I also see a lot of those same people not willing to read the white paper. And again, going off the guidance of, say, someone like myself or someone out there in the community who said, hey, I find an interest in this. And I appreciate if you guys appreciate my opinion. But just like everyone else, I mean, if you think about Michael from Box Mining, if you're following, you know, or some other people on like Twitter and stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of traders out there, Crypto Ran, a lot of other great people who all have their own opinions, and they're gonna share it with you guys. And you gotta take it with a grain of salt, you know. Take a compilation of people's opinions to give guidance towards you doing your own research and finding your own gems. And if you see that I have a good consistent track record, maybe I can be a good indicator for projects to look into. And then after reading the white paper, you can filter through a lot of the noise and find some really good projects. So that's the big thing I'm going to wrap up on, guys. But anyways, I want to say thank you all for joining in. PyCon, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on. Hopefully we can get some more of you guys in here over the next few weeks and stuff, get some good discussions going. We'll come in with some pre-planned topics as well to discuss, and then we'll, again, as always, pull in questions. But it's been a blast. Thank you all for joining in on to the live stream. I hope you guys like some of the new additions, the new layout for the live stream. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. But until the next video, guys, I'll see you all later. Take care, sleep well, and have a wonderful rest of the night.